Hey, Coby. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell the audience a little bit more about yourself for those who might not know your fantastic work as a soul singer in New York City. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I went to high school of the performing arts, Duke Ellington School of the Arts, where I studied theater and music. And I started out early listening to a lot of Streisand and Shirley Bassey and Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald, because my mother had 8-track tapes, and I was really immersed in her collection. She had great taste in music. And then when I went to Duke Ellington School of the Performing Arts, I learned a lot about gospel and even more jazz. I moved to New York in the early 90s, 93, and it's been a hell of a ride.
Wow, 93 in New York.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It's a great time.
What was that like for you first arriving in New York in 93?
It was really phenomenal for me because you would walk down the street and you would see Lee Bowery and Lady Kier from Delight on St. Mark's. And I feel like I was at the end of a really great era in New York, with the Club Kids and, Boy Bar and all those amazing places that you only dream about now. I sang in a lot of downtown places. Remember the Crowbar on 10th Street?
Yeah.
I'm a little older than you. It was owned by the same people that opened Barracuda later on because Crowbar was so successful. Lena was the DJ, and Gant Johnson, and Chip Duckett, and Austin Downey. All these legendary New Yorkers who we love. Candace Kane was performing there. Mona Foote did Star Search, the original place. So it was a really great place. And I think my first performance in New York was there. And believe it or not, I did this cover of God Bless a Child by Billie Holiday, but I did it over an R&B track, and there were people there from Paris. And they loved it so much that they gave me money to record the demo.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's like that New York Dream story. That's
fantastic.
It was
amazing, yeah. They paid for the demo, which was phenomenal.
Wonderful. Yeah. We'll play a little bit of that for the audience now.
Okay.
Rich relations give a crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't you take too much. Your mama may have, and your papa too, but God bless the child that's got his own. God bless the child. Oh, God bless the child. God bless the child that's got his own.
I first met Coby in the summer of 2015 at Stonewall, New York City. We were both billed on a charity concert. I was really looking forward to meeting him. I sat down with Coby to chat about how we met. What I remember about that night and what stands out to me is I think maybe we were Facebook friends or whatnot beforehand, because maybe when we got the mutual billing on that...
we looked each other up.
Yeah, and I
was so impressed with your music.
Likewise.
And your hair.
What I wasn't expecting was that night for you to come up to me and to be so warm and so kind and so encouraging, because maybe I just wasn't used to feeling that in those sort of settings.
Wow.
And having other artists be warm and encouraging and collaborative, because a lot of times it's sort of an insular path. People are not always talking and interacting and encouraging each other.
It's so interesting because I love great talent. Going to the School of the Arts, you're always encouraging your friends. You're always happy for somebody when they shine, when everybody has their moment. And I think it's so important to support each other. If I think you're amazing, I will go up there and tell you. I have no qualms about it. I think it's so important to encourage people. There's not enough of that. I don't think there's not. Everyone's so competitive and so afraid that we end up hurting each other instead of encouraging each other and supporting each other, which is so important this day and age, I think.
100%. And, I was really very encouraged that night by that. And we kept in touch after that night.
Yes.
And I've been a fan of your vocal talent for years.
Vice versa.
We've mentioned the powerhouse soul vocals are stunning, and your emotional connection with the music really resonates with me in a way that when I look to the singers that I love, you're right up in there with the tops.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
I'm honored as well for the fact that you also decided that you'd wanted to collaborate with me, and that's one of the reasons we're here today. I asked you if you wanted to write a song together, and you came down to the studio, and I played you a couple things from the new album that I was working on, including this track, Become Love. The intention wasn't originally for you to be on that track, but you were so moved by it.
I was.
that you said, this is the one, let's do it. And
And we did it right then and there.
right then and there, it happened that day. What was it about that track for you?
I think the lyrics are beautiful. I love the hook. It resonates with me because it reminds me of songs that I loved growing up. It's kind of like a prayer-ish, you know, it has a little bit of a Spanish sound to it. I just really loved it. I love the style of it, and I love the message, you know. I think messages are so important these days. And the older I get, the more sentimental I get, and I think music should really leave a mark, and I think the song just really does that. It's a gorgeous song. I'm proud to sing on it with you. I really am.
Love the way you love me, and you love me all night long. I'm there. I love, I love, I love. I love's a new religion sent from heaven way above. Love become a mountain, and a mountain become love. Love become a mountain, and a mountain become love.
Originally, that bridge, there wasn't that section written to it. It was, you were just improvising on a couple lines.
Oh, shit.
And then I went back there, and I was really inspired by Aretha Franklin, Chain of Fools,
Yeah, good
where
song.
that bridge, that breakdown, and we go through, you know, my doctor says, my father said.
My mother said, become love. And my doctor said, become love. And my lover said, yeah, my preacher said, 'cause my Lord said, yeah, my Jesus said, become love.
Let's talk a little bit more about the song Become Love. For me, this track was inspired by my mom. My mom instilled in me this sense that love could move mountains. And that's what that refrain comes from. Love become a mountain, and a mountain become love.
I love that.
That love is that universal, somehow otherworldly, but very grounded universal force that we all know that just moves us and shapes us and inspires us and has been the catalyst for love songs and poetry and art and war. Well, I guess that's not as good, but you know, it's so moving.
Love of country. You know?
Yeah, or love of a woman in the Trojan War, if you believe the mythology of that. But for me, it's been something that's pushed me through my life and inspired me, and when times were hard and when things got dark, to fall back on that universal thought that if you just love a little harder, give a little bit more, that the world will be a better place. Let's talk about your song, Vogue is My Religion. Where did this song originate from?
I started writing it in 2015. There was a trans woman murdered in my neighborhood, and I was just really affected by it. First of all, that's my neighborhood, and it was just really vicious and a horrible attack, and I just was sitting in bed thinking about it, really traumatized by it. You know, I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders sometimes. It's just the way that I am. You know, I'm very sensitive about what's going on in the world, and I just started writing these lyrics, color, creed, and sexuality, because everyone says always color, creed, but you know, sexuality is up there. You know, people are judged on their sexuality and murdered because of their sexuality, and I just started writing those lyrics, and it just evolved from that, really. It's so weird, you know, now that I'm getting older, I'm so excited about celebrating my age, because look at all of our friends who didn't make it to 40 or 28. Yeah. And, you know, we live in a society that hates us if we're over 24, which is so ridiculous. We're taught to just despise ourselves. And I'm just totally going to embrace getting old, because as long as I can do what I do and do what I love, I'll do it in a wheelchair. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? because that's going to make me, ultimately, that's going to make me happy regardless of my age. So I have a very good attitude about age now, better than I used to. I used to be in this, like, I have to be 25 forever because that's, you know, I'm never going to make it if I'm 28.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I moved to New York, I was already too old, too fat, too gay, too hairy, you know, too Jewish, not Jewish enough. You know, there was always something, too. So I'm done beating myself up for being alive. I'm going to celebrate every day.
Yeah.
You've been acting different, I've been told. Soothe me, I want some sugar in my bowl. I want some steam on my clothes. Maybe I can fix things up so they'll go, yeah. What's the matter, baby? Come on, save my soul. I want some sugar in my bowl. I ain't fooling them. I want some sugar in my bowl.
One of the things that Coby and I undeniably have in common is that music has saved our lives and brought us through some of the hardest times.
It's a blessing to be able to sing. I'm so lucky to have that outlet. Oh, I think the music really helped me survive in this world. You know, it's living in the moment and loving what you're doing because it gets you to the next day. Do you know what I mean? For me, to survive anything that I've gone through, which is traumatic or sad or, you know, puts me in a depressive mode, you know, music saves my life. So I really do it not to leave a mark, but for what it does for me personally. You know, it's the best therapy in the world, and it's helped me overcome everything in my life. So for me, it's about getting to the next day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, of course, we all want to leave a mark, but the gift really is we have our own medicine.
Yeah, internally. So let's talk about love. What is love? How do you define love? What does love mean to you?
I think love is self-acceptance, and then once you do that, which could take a lifetime, then you can really love somebody else on a level like. But to me, love is self-acceptance, and then everything else is gravy.
So in this journey of self-acceptance, and for you, what have been the best lessons or the biggest takeaways that have helped you get there?
Self-love is the most important thing in the world, because without it, you can't even cross the street. You know what I mean? And if you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't love yourself, and not to say that I'm perfect and I love everything about myself, but mostly I really love myself, and that's why, you know, I've never stopped singing and doing what I love. And I think that's the best thing that I've ever done for myself. After going to the School of Performing Arts, I think that was the most important thing that I ever did, because that really changed my life and really changed my whole direction. But I think self-love is so important, more than anything. Because really, at the end of the day, you're the only one who's going to really be there for you.
How has love inspired you in your life?
Well, I have to say, you know, my friendships have had a lot of love in them. That's where I felt the most love. I didn't really feel greatly loved by my family. I'm not pulling out the violins, I'm just being really honest. So the friendships that I made early on, you know, the friends that I've had for years, you know, that's where my love is. Those are the people who accept me and love me unconditionally, and love me regardless of my flaws, and there are plenty of them, and they don't judge me. And really, and of course my love for music, once again, I hate to be a broken record, but yeah, and just loving your community and just loving humanity and caring for others. You know, I'm never going to have a baby, but, you know, a woman's right to choose is important to me because I love women, right? Equal rights, you know, all the stuff that affects our daily lives and our friends' lives. I care about people. I love people. And that's love.
My new album, Through the Storms, is now available. Become Love is available on all digital distributors, and you can find Coby on the web on YouTube. Search Coby Koehl, CobyKoehl. He's also on Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on the web at www.aris.fm. And I'm on social media on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. The conversations continue on my podcast, Through the Storms. Stream new episodes on Spotify and www.throughthestorms.info.